Well, hello, good afternoon, early evening. I'm Marielle Gross. I'm an OBGYN physician, founder and CEO of heny. I'm here with my team, Will, Arvind. We're looking forward to talking to you all about one of the most valuable resources in healthcare that is both wildly underutilized and yet holds the key to unlocking precision medicine. Critical to our context is this idea: what is precision medicine? To me, precision medicine is the real-time integration of clinical care and practice with translational science seamlessly integrated at the bedside. What you need for that is all of the data, all of the different data types, all of the different modalities, the accelerating and converging technologies coming to bear on personalizing individual therapy. This is critical because with patients like in breast cancer, where you have metastatic breast cancer patients have 50 FDA-approved therapies, you want to know, if that's you or your loved one, which ones, when, how much, and with the right answers. Metastatic cancer is a chronic disease, and with the wrong ones, it's of course lethal. It's our biosamples from our bodies, the highest fidelity source of data that we have, that can help us unlock those answers, those right answers. This image captures what's wrong with how we handle our biosamples today at the interface between clinical medicine and biomedical science. Because this is Shay, if she donates, she's a patient at McGee and she donates her breast tumor for biomedical research, it could become an organoid across the street and she'll never find out. She and her physicians will not receive the results of research done on her sample, and therefore they're going to be making decisions for her healthcare with incomplete information, potentially at the cost of her life. At the same time, scientists using her samples don't know about each other. They receive a small piece of a de-identified sample and nobody's connecting the dots. As a result of this process we call de-identification, where for ethical purposes, we remove patients' names from their samples in order to put them to research. This is a perfect example, I forget the gentleman who said this, of the technical debt of our systems of the 21st century that we adopted from the way we did things in the 20th century. Because the consequence is that patients don't know about or benefit from the research that they contribute to at a time when it could be more actionable than ever. And a significant consequence is that it drives a lack of clarity around the ownership of biosamples. This is a significant issue for biobanking as an industry, because lack of clarity of ownership is a classic cause of market failure. And indeed, biobanking is experiencing market failure. Take, for example, we're piloting for a breast cancer biobank here at UPMC. Take this 20-year collection of biosamples from breast cancer patients here in Pittsburgh. 90% of those samples that were collected are sitting in costly refrigerated storage across the street from where they were first collected. Commercially, a conservative estimate of the value of those samples is $30 million, and they're sitting in a biobank holding on to them that's losing millions of dollars a year. It's the lack of clarity of ownership of there's many stakeholders are interested, but there's a lack of clarity of ownership and who has the right to do what with these samples. This is where our solution comes in that we first and foremost, as a decentralized biobanking platform, clarify ownership. This is the Web3 in the intro, the Web3 idea is decentralized ownership. Patients own their biosamples. It's the only good answer to that question of who owns these samples. But by connecting patients to the samples, what we enable is ethical and scalable monetization of the samples and their efficient and market-driven use. So we allow biobanks to link together. We connect the researchers with the patients who they're studying, other people studying the same person, and other sources of data from those same individuals in a longitudinal fashion. And we connect researchers to those single needles in a haystack they're looking for to drive their research, to the haystacks across the country and indeed the world that have those really specific things that they're looking for, that currently they might wait a decade or more before they have enough locally to do the project that they see as valuable. On the left, you see at a high level what we have today. Patients, samples go into the biobank, they go to the researcher, there's nothing in between. And what we have today now is, and which is what we're piloting now, is an application layer that fills a white space. And it does so leveraging technology to ensure that it's compliant with de-identification. Everybody stays de-identified. The research and the biobanks are compliant with their current regulatory framework to implement our solution. We leverage smart contract technology and other technologies to automate and make it efficient to do so, so researchers don't have these added burdens that they hadn't planned or budgeted for. And we leverage tokenization to align incentives in an unprecedented fashion, we believe in a disruptive way for healthcare as a data economy. So this is what it looks like, and this is some screenshots of what we're piloting with our patients now. We call the app DBI, short for Decentralized Biobank. And you can see here the patients learn about biobanking, they claim their samples, and critically, they join together in a community, both with other patients like themselves and with the researchers who might be studying their samples or samples like theirs. And they're able, in a series of what we have a framework of laboratories. And in the digital laboratory setting, patients can follow the research that's of importance to them. And then on the other side of it, we have patient-led labs. And the concept of our patient-led lab is a collective, an investment collective that can pool their unused samples and in the future drive together use by partnering with researchers who identify their cohort and want to take their samples and work together in a collaborative fashion to drive the science forward. These are some of our first users, and you could see the genuineness of their excitement and the impact. And what's really critical for us is that patients, they call it a no-brainer. They said, this is obviously relevant to our health, but also I want to know because it's my body. And they've recognized and are validating part of our underlying thesis that this is not just about precision medicine, this is not just about healthcare delivery, this is about culture and the culture of research needing to change to be equitable and inclusive and diverse. From a business standpoint, it's a SaaS marketplace network solution. You could think about it as the blockchain rails, rules, and tools for biobanking as an industry. It starts, like any marketplace network, with a SaaS product for biobanks. We enable biobanks, and they're reaching out to us to recruit diverse participants, building trust, engage those participants in a long-term fashion, incentivize additional donations, especially from healthy donors, and especially from connecting the dots to patients who were healthy when they got the sample and who then become sick in the future, because that's how you unlock the value of the samples and how you yield answers. And patients, as we've discussed earlier, move about the system. And this keeps the biosamples and the research related to them tethered to that individual throughout their lifespan and ultimately beyond. That network solution is what will unlock this as a transactional-based marketplace where we can bring liquidity to biosamples, the efficient deployment of this most valuable resource in healthcare that we're mostly throwing away. We're working with a series of key pilot implementations, defining this across our ecosystem. At the bottom of this slide, you could see some of our collaborating institutions. It's at the very top of the people at the top of their fields recognizing unmet needs in this space. That will lead us to really a SaaS platform for biobanks that fundamentally connects patients to their biosamples and to each other, leveraging existing networks, which are already powerful in their own right, and that can be enhanced by a holistic, person-centered infrastructure for their biosample data. That ultimately is going to position us to drive this in a patient-centered way into a marketplace solution that can make biobanking sustainable and indeed scalable, which is essential for the future of precision medicine. Our competitive landscape, you could see, has two sides. On one side, and I should have had orbits on here, On one side is next generation biobanking and biospecimen platform solutions, so-called Amazons for human tissue. On the right side are decentralized and blockchain-driven solutions for funding and executing science and for enabling patient ownership of their data. And fundamentally, what we are doing is taking the ethos and the tech stack on the right and applying it to the use cases on the left, and that is our critical differentiator and strategic advantage. I wouldn't be here today without my team, and I look forward to introducing you to them on a personal level later tonight. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and thank you as well for inviting us to come speak. And most critically, I would not be here if it were not for the engagement with patients. This is breast cancer patients here in Pittsburgh. They're just a start, and over the past few weeks, we've had over 600 of them from this one tiny biobank, which is one of hundreds, if not more, in our own city that have signed up to be part of this because they want to know what happened to their samples. So we're excited to share this journey with you. Thank you very much.